Dear listeners, before we get started, drop a quick hi in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you have any suggestions for us to make the channel better, please let us know. Now let's start with the story. You ever get that gut punch feeling when you realize your whole life's been a lie? Last month I was over at my parents' house, helping Dad with some paperwork. He asked me to scan a stack of documents, legal stuff, bills, the usual boring grown-up nonsense. I was just about done when a folder caught my eye. Big bold letters, estate plan and last will. Curiosity got the better of me. I know, maybe I shouldn't have looked, but something told me to. I opened it up. Inside, every last thing, the house, the savings, all their assets, was going to my brother Evan. There was barely even a mention of me, except for some generic line about loving both sons equally. My stomach flipped. My ears were ringing. I felt sick. I went straight to Dad. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. What's this about the will? Everything goes to Evan. He looked really uncomfortable, couldn't meet my eyes. He kind of mumbled, it's complicated. Mom jumped in. You have a good job, honey. Evan struggles. We just want to make sure he's taken care of. I almost laughed, but it came out bitter instead. Taken care of? I'd been supporting them for years, paying their mortgage, buying their groceries, fixing up their house. And Evan? He'd done nothing. Sat on the couch, binging Netflix, going from one half-baked job to another, living off their handouts. And I was the one left out of the will. Fury burned through me. I stood there for a second, just staring at them. Then I walked out. Right then and there, I decided I was done. No more financial support, no more being their safety net. It took about a week of radio silence before they finally realized I was serious. At first, I'm pretty sure they thought I was bluffing. Oh, Joel's just being sensitive. He'll come around. He always does. But then the mortgage bill hit. And suddenly their golden boy, Evan, wasn't exactly jumping in to save the day. Shocker, right? Then came the text from Dad. No hello, no how are you just. Mortgage is due. Need your help. My thumbs hovered over the screen for a second. Then I typed. Ask Evan. It's his house, remember? Sent. It felt damn good. Didn't even take 5 minutes for Mom to call me. I let it ring. She followed up with a text. Joel, please don't be like this. We need to talk. I stared at it. Oh, now we need to talk? Now that the free ride's over? I waited about an hour before replying. You made your choice. Now you can live with it. I figured that would be the end of it. I hoped it would be. But then Evan, freaking Evan, decided to open his big lazy mouth. He texted me. Dude, why are you being such a drama queen? I stared at the screen. Speechless. This guy, who couldn't hold down a job for more than a few months, who spent the last 5 years mooching off my parents, was calling me dramatic? I shot back. Not a drama queen. Just not your doormat anymore. He came back with, it's not a big deal, man. Just help them out like you always do. I almost laughed. Almost. Nah. I typed. You're the heir, right? Time to step up. Silence. That was the first real silence I'd ever gotten from Evan. Maybe it finally hit him. He might have to actually do something now. Of course, the guilt trip brigade wasn't done yet. Mom texted again. We took care of you for so long. You owe us. You're abandoning your parents. I stared at that text for a full minute, boiling. I owed them. Owed them for what? For feeding me when I was a literal child? For all the birthdays they half forgot? For the support they never gave unless it was to Evan? For every single year I picked up their slack so they could keep pretending our family wasn't a complete mess? My thumbs shook as I typed. I've been carrying you for years. You decided I wasn't family when you left me out of the will. It didn't take long for their reply to come through. Dad, this time don't be selfish. Just help for a few more months till we figure things out. Selfish. That word snapped something in me. Me selfish? I'd been giving them money since I was 21. Patching up their leaking plumbing. Grocery runs every single week. Paid for that new damn water heater last winter. Covered the tax bill when they forgot to budget for it. And now I was the selfish one? No. I was done. Sent. Then I blocked their numbers. It felt weird at first, empty, like something had been ripped away, but also kind of peaceful. Until the next morning. My phone rang, the front desk of my building. Weird, I thought. I answered. Hi, Joel. The receptionist said, sounding uneasy. Your parents are downstairs. They're saying it's an emergency. I froze. You're kidding. She hesitated. They've been insisting. They said you won't answer your phone because you blocked them. My heart slammed against my ribs. Do not let them up, I told her firmly. Tell them I'm not available. I hung up, hands trembling. Seconds later, a text from an unknown number buzzed through. We're downstairs. Open the door. Then Mom again. We're not leaving until you talk to us. Jesus Christ. I did what I shouldn't have done. I went downstairs. Not because I wanted to talk. Because I was pissed. Done being polite. Done playing the role of the responsible son who let them guilt trip him into everything. I pushed open the front door of the building. There they were. Mom. Dad. And of course, Evan, standing there looking like he'd just rolled out of bed and couldn't believe this was eating into his precious do-nothing time. Mom went straight for the performance, voice pitched high. Joel, finally. We need to talk. I crossed my arms. No, you need to leave. She blinked, like she couldn't comprehend. Excuse me. You heard me. I snapped. You don't get to show up uninvited at my place and demand money. That's insane. Dad scoffed, trying to haul out the old authority tone. You're really going to let us lose the house over a petty grudge? I laughed, loud and bitter. Petty grudge? Oh, you mean the one where you decided I was good enough to pay your bills, but not good enough to be in your will? That grudge. Mom flinched. It's not fair to bring that up again. It's not fair that you raised a leech and made me responsible for his mess. I shot back, pointing straight at Evan. He just shrugged, like it was all someone else's problem. I didn't ask for this, okay? I nearly lost it. No, you just benefited from it. You let them drain me while you sat back and played victim. You knew exactly what was happening. I wanted to scream at Evan. He looked away, muttering under his breath, whatever, man. Mom's eyes started to well up, like she'd been rehearsing the tears. Joel, we're family. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yeah? So why didn't you take care of me when I needed it? Why was it always Evan? She didn't answer. Just silence. I shook my head. Enough. I turned to leave. But of course Dad had to get the last word in. After all we did for you. I spun around so fast he actually flinched. You didn't do it for me. I snapped. You did it because it made you feel like heroes. I've spent 10 years cleaning up your messes. I'm not doing it anymore. I walked back inside and slammed the door behind me. My hands were shaking so badly I had to press them against the wall to steady myself. I knew exactly what would happen next. They'd spin this, twist it for everyone else, friends, cousins, anyone who'd listen. Facebook posts, calls behind my back, probably the whole Joel is so ungrateful performance. We raised him better. I could practically hear it already. But I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I was drawing the line. And I meant it. The next few days were quiet. Eerily quiet. No calls, no texts, no uninvited visits. It felt like a ceasefire, and a small part of me, God help me, thought, maybe they finally got the message. But of course that was naive. Instead of picking up the phone again, they went full social media smear campaign. I only found out because my cousin Juliet texted me out of nowhere. Hey, you okay? Your mom posted some stuff on Facebook. Looks bad. I hadn't even been on Facebook in weeks. So I logged in. And there it was. A long, dramatic public post from Mom. One of those sunset background gradient things, like it was supposed to be inspirational. Except it was really just a passive-aggressive guilt trip in disguise. Sometimes the children you sacrifice everything for are the ones who abandon you first. We gave our hearts, our time, our savings, and now we're left with silence. All we wanted was love and support in return. Family should stick together. She didn't tag me, but she didn't have to. Everybody knew who she meant. The comments piled in fast. Her little church friends, lining up with their halos on. You're such a good mom. He'll come around. Kids these days don't know how lucky they are. You raised him better than that. Cue the freaking sympathy parade. Then, like clockwork, Dad followed up with his own status update the next day. No fancy background, just raw, boomer-level rage. Raised a kid for 30 years, gave him everything we had, and now he won't even pick up the phone. Sad what the world is coming to. And because this dumpster fire needed gasoline, guess who jumped in? Evan. He shared both their posts, adding a little self-righteous gem of his own. Some people forget where they came from. I'll always be here for our parents. That's what real family does. I swear I could feel my blood pressure spike. This dude, who couldn't even show up for dinner without begging me for gas money, was playing the loyal son card. Real family. Screw that. Real family doesn't sit on there, but while their brother pays for everything behind the scenes. I didn't comment. Didn't like. Didn't react. Instead, I texted Juliet. Thanks for the heads up. Tell them they can lie to Facebook, but not to me. She answered fast. To be honest, I always knew they treated you different. It's just getting worse. That was the first time someone in the family had actually admitted it out loud. And, man, it hit me harder than I expected. I hadn't realized just how much I'd been carrying. All those years of trying to be the good son, brushing off the inequality like it wasn't that deep. But it was. And it didn't stop there. 2 days later, I got an email. From Mrs. Reyes, my old high school English teacher. She'd always been one of the few adults who actually gave a damn back then. Her message was short, but it hit hard. Hi Joel, I saw your parents' posts. I don't know what happened, but I hope you're okay. Just wanted to say I always admired how responsible you were, even back then. Don't let guilt twist your reality. That was it. Just a few lines. But something snapped. I'd spent my whole damn life twisting myself into knots. Trying to be the bigger person. Trying to protect their pride. carrying everything on my own shoulders, silently, without ever asking for credit. And what did it get me? A Facebook circus, a public guilt trip, an inheritance I wasn't even a footnote in. So I did what I probably should have done a long time ago. I wrote a post of my own, not to fight, not to throw punches, just to tell the truth. I sat at my desk, hands shaking a little as I typed. Some of you may have seen a few posts from my family recently. I've kept quiet out of respect, but I can't let their version of the story be the only one people hear. For years, I supported my parents, financially, emotionally, practically. Mortgage payments, utility bills, emergency groceries, repairs, all while working full-time, paying my own rent, and trying to build a life. I never asked for anything in return. I did it because I believe that's what family does. Then I found out they left everything to my brother, the house, the savings, every asset. And when I asked why, I was told it's because he struggles more and I don't need it. It broke something in me, because it wasn't just about money. It was about years of being taken for granted, being the fallback plan, the dependable one who never got the recognition, just the responsibility. So I drew a boundary. I stopped enabling. I stepped away. And instead of taking accountability, they went online and made me the villain. I'm not angry anymore. Just done. Done playing the role they wrote for me without asking. Done keeping silent to protect people who never protected me. I still wish them well, but I won't set myself on fire to keep anyone else warm again. Joel. I hit post. Closed the app. Honestly, I didn't expect much. Maybe a couple friends liking it. Maybe one or two people quietly messaging me support. But instead, it blew the hell up. Old coworkers, distant cousins, neighbors, even people I barely knew started commenting, messaging. Damn, I had no idea. Respect for saying something. Sounds like you did everything you could. A few people even shared their own stories, how they were the responsible one in their family, how they were tired of being used. Suddenly, I wasn't just venting. I was validating something a lot of people had been feeling but didn't know how to say. Of course, my parents saw it. Mom messaged me, Joel, how could you air our private family issues in public like that? I didn't reply. Then Evan, king of clueless. Dude, this is messed up. Now everyone thinks mom and dad are monsters. No reply. They wanted to control the story. Wanted to keep their version neat, tidy, sympathetic. But I was done letting them write my script. And right when things started dying down, when I thought maybe I could finally breathe, something unexpected happened. A message popped up from someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Uncle Marcel, mom's older brother. Hey Joel, can we talk? I saw your post. There's something you should probably know. Uncle Marcel? I didn't even know he had Facebook, let alone that he actually used it. The last time I'd seen him, I was maybe 15. Quiet guy, ex-Marine, kind of disappeared after Grandpa's funeral. I always figured he just didn't want anything to do with our side of the family. So when that message popped up, I hesitated. Part of me thought maybe he'd join the chorus, try to guilt trip me like the rest of them. But curiosity won out. Sure, what's up? I replied. Not even a minute later, my phone rang. No small talk, no warm-up, just that low, raspy voice. Joel, it's Marcel. Got a minute? I stepped outside, out of the apartment, sat on the curb under the dim street lamp. Heart hammering. Yeah, I said. What's going on? He took a deep breath, like he'd been waiting a long time to let this out. I read your post, he said. And I know what you're going through more than you think. That threw me. Okay, I managed. Then he dropped it. That house, he said. The one they live in? It used to be yours. Technically, it still should be. I sat there blinking at the road, like the words had glitched in my brain. Come again. He sighed, long and tired, like he'd been carrying this for years. Back when your grandpa died, he set up a trust, Marcel explained. There was a clause, if your parents couldn't manage their finances responsibly, the property would be reassigned to his next of kin. Me. He paused, let that sink in. But instead of handling things right, your mom and dad cashed out every benefit they could, he went on. They begged me not to enforce the clause, said it would ruin the family, said you and Evan would suffer. My mouth was dry. So what happened? He exhaled again, sounding defeated. Your mom promised they'd use the trust funds to help you boys. Said she'd split it fairly when you were older. But then she changed the terms with a lawyer friend. Shut me out completely. I walked away because I didn't want to fight my own sister, figured maybe they'd do right by you. He paused. But after reading what you posted, his voice tightened. I realized they never intended to. I just sat there, numb. So wait, I finally croaked. They liquidated Grandpa's trust and lied about it. That's the short version, he confirmed. I swallowed. You have proof? Yeah, he said. I kept the paperwork. I'll send it. Moments later, my phone pinged, scanned documents, legal paperwork, even the notifications he'd gotten when they transferred everything under Dad's name. It was all legit. Crystal clear. I just stared at my screen, a pit forming in my stomach. They hadn't just favored Evan. They stole from me. Not just metaphorically, they literally rewrote my future, smiling in my face like they were doing me a favor. Suddenly, it made perfect sense. Why they pushed Evan as the successor. Why they avoided talking about Grandpa's estate. Why they acted like helping me was some grand gift instead of an obligation. Uncle Marcel's voice pulled me out of my spiral. "You've got a case, Joel," he told me steady. "If you want to go legal, I'll testify." I should have said something years ago. "I'm sorry." I took a shaky breath. "I'll think about it." But in my gut, I already knew. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was fraud. That night, I barely slept. I couldn't stop flashing back. Every single grocery run I'd done for them. Every Saturday morning where I'd fixed their leaky faucet, or unclogged the gutters, or patched up some half-broken cabinet. Every damn Sunday dinner, where I'd sit there picking at my plate while they bragged about Evan's latest pipe dream job, acting like he was some genius visionary. And the whole time, the whole freaking time, they were sitting on my inheritance. My future. What the hell? The next morning, I knew what I had to do. First, I called Juliet. I told her everything Uncle Marcel had dropped on me, every ugly, mind-bending piece of it. She was stunned, but honestly, not surprised. "Your mom always acted weird about that house," she told me. Now I know why. Then I called a lawyer. Sam, friend of a friend. Young, sharp, didn't bullshit me. I sat on my couch, phone on speaker, and just spilled everything. I left out no detail, even the messy, embarrassing parts. She listened quietly, took notes, asked questions. Finally, she said, "Okay, here's what we do. We freeze the assets, subpoena the will revisions, and notify your parents of an impending estate dispute. But this will get ugly." "Ugly how?" I asked. She didn't even pause. "They'll try to guilt you, manipulate you, maybe even retaliate. But you have more ground than you think. If Marcel backs you, we have a legal pathway to recover what's yours." I breathed in, shaky. "Then let's go," I said. 2 weeks later, my parents got the notice. You'd think that would be the moment they panicked, maybe even came clean. Nope. They doubled down. Mom left me a voicemail, full-on sobbing, talking about how I was ruining the family's reputation. Dad sent me an email, basically a threat to sue me for defamation. And Evan, Jesus. Evan sent me a video message from his car, sunglasses on like he was about to sell crypto on TikTok. "This is messed up, bro," he said, all casual. "You're letting some money-hungry lawyer turn you against your own parents. You don't even need the house, dude. I've got plans for it, like long-term investment stuff you wouldn't understand." I watched it 3 times, just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Investment? From the guy who couldn't hold a job for more than 3 months. I didn't reply. I just saved everything and forwarded it to Sam. She was almost gleeful. "Keep these coming," she told me. "We'll need it all." Here's the thing about revenge. It doesn't have to be loud. It can be quiet, calculated, cold. And honestly, that's exactly what this was becoming. I wasn't even trying to get even. I just wanted justice. I wanted a clean break from the version of me they'd built, obedient, generous, invisible Joel. And I was finally smashing that mold to pieces. By week 3, the court had granted a temporary hold on the estate. My parents couldn't sell, refinance, or gift the property until the matter was resolved. And that's when the second bombshell dropped. They had tried to refinance the house. Again, this time with Evan's name added to the loan application. Sam sent me the flag paperwork, Evan's forged signature, same sloppy handwriting as my dad's grocery list. I screenshotted it and sent it straight to Uncle Marcel. He called me instantly. "They've officially gone full criminal," he said, voice tight. "You ready to end this?" "More than ever," I told him. "We filed for fraud. Officially." And as if on cue, my parents finally cracked. They showed up at my apartment again. I didn't even let them pass the building lobby. I walked out to meet them, earbuds in, hoodie up, adrenaline spiking, and told them they had 60 seconds to speak. Dad stepped forward, eyes cold, jaw clenched. "Joel," he said, "if you go through with this, you're destroying your family." I said, "You already did. I'm just cleaning up the mess." Mom tried to plead, desperate. "Think about what Grandpa would have wanted," she said, her voice cracking. I looked her dead in the eye. He wanted the house to stay in the family, not to be flipped for a boat and a Tesla. And I walked away. For the first time in my life, I felt taller than both of them. The trial's in a month. We've got Marcel. We've got the paperwork, voice recordings, emails, even Evan's dumb video. They've got sob stories. So yeah, this isn't just some family fight anymore. This is a reckoning. Here's the thing about courtrooms. They're not like the movies. No dramatic shouting. No last-minute witnesses bursting through the doors with smoking guns. Just legally fluorescent lighting and a lot of waiting. But even with that, just sitting there, across from my parents and Evan, while Sam laid out our case, it felt like fireworks going off behind my ribs. This was it. Every lie, every manipulation, every year I was the useful but forgettable son. Now it was all under a microscope. Uncle Marcel took the stand first. And man, the guy came prepared like it was his mission in life to burn the whole house down. He had originals of the trust, documented emails from Mom, begging him not to enforce the clause, even handwritten notes from a conversation where she promised, in her own words, Joel will get everything eventually, just stay quiet. Then the real kicker, proof that after Grandpa died, the house was never properly transferred. They just assumed control, like it was a monopoly property, like they passed go and collected my future. The judge looked stunned. Sam looked smug. And me, I tried not to cry. When Marcel stepped down, Evan was next. Train wreck. Absolute train wreck. Sam was polite, surgical, even, but she didn't pull her punches. Mr. Evan, she began, calm and steady, what was your role in the household, exactly? I'll mow the lawn sometimes, he said. Seriously, that was his opening line. Sam didn't blink. Are you aware the revised will named you sole beneficiary? He shrugged. I mean, kind of. My parents said they wanted to take care of me. So you thought it was fair, she asked, that your brother, who has financially supported your parents for years, was completely left out? You could feel the short circuit happening in his brain. Joel has a good job, he finally said. Sam gave him a cool smile. And is having a good job a justification for excluding someone from a will? Evan blinked. Then Sam dropped the video. Yeah, that video. The one where he called me dramatic. The one where he told me to help out like I always do. It played on a screen in front of the whole courtroom. His voice echoed through that dead silence like a slap. He turned red, full body red. I actually heard someone in the back snort. Then my parents took the stand. Let me tell you something. Watching your mom cry in court, it's not satisfying. Not really. Not when you grew up just hoping that one day, she'd look at you and see you. Appreciate you. She cried. Apologized, but to the judge, not to me. Said they were just trying to protect the family. Said Evan needed support. And I was already so strong. The mental gymnastics? Olympic level. Then came Dad. Tried to look stoic. Claimed he was acting in good faith. Said I was the one who turned this into a legal war. Sam didn't even raise her voice. Just one question. Did you forge your son's signature on the refinancing paperwork? Silence. He didn't deny it. I looked him dead in the eye. He looked away. The judge didn't make a ruling that day. She said she needed time. Fine. But something had shifted. I could feel it. Evan stopped posting smug stuff on social. And my mom. She sent a letter. A real, physical letter. Handwritten. Inside it said, I made mistakes, but I still love you. Funny how that kind of love only shows up when you're under oath and about to lose your house. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't feel anything. I felt everything. Confusion, sadness, guilt, rage, and this weird ache in my chest that felt a lot like grief, even though nobody died. But I wasn't about to fall back into their cycle. I knew it too well. Guilt, forgiveness, reset, repeat. No thanks. 3 weeks later, the ruling came. I was at work when Sam called. I stepped outside, phone trembling in my hand, heart pounding like a drumbeat in my throat. Joel, she said. A pause. We won. Just like that. 2 words that shattered years of betrayal. The court nullified the revised will, reinstated Grandpa's original trust, froze every attempt to refinance the house, and then charged my dad with document forgery. A felony. Evan. No criminal charges, but the judge didn't hold back. Said in the ruling that he benefited from unethical manipulation, and that if any further misconduct came up, he stood to lose inheritance rights altogether. So, no payout for him either. Not anytime soon. Later that night, I drove back to the house. Alone. Didn't go in. Didn't plan to. Just wanted to look at it. The place that held so much of me, the good and the bad. I hadn't been there in months. The yard was overgrown. Mailbox duct taped shut. A foreclosure notice still stuck to the front door, even though the court had blocked it. I stood there, hand resting on the rusty gate, staring at it all like I was watching a past version of myself, trapped behind glass. And then the porch light clicked on. My mom opened the door. She saw me, froze in place, then stepped out slowly, like she wasn't sure if she should talk or run. Joel, she said, her voice catching in her throat. I didn't move. She walked closer, barefoot, hair a mess, sweater slipping off one shoulder. She looked tired. Not fake tired. Real tired. I'm sorry, she said quietly. And for the first time, I believed her. But it didn't change anything. I nodded once. I hope you mean it, I said. Because you're going to need that apology a lot. Then I turned around. Didn't yell. Didn't cry. Didn't even look back. That night, I slept better than I had in years. People think revenge is some explosion. A big, dramatic moment where you throw the final punch and everyone gasps. But most of the time, it's silence. It's knowing you stood up for yourself when no one else would. It's walking away with your head up, while the people who tried to ruin you choke on the consequences of their own decisions. It's not fire. It's freedom. The craziest part? Life didn't magically fix itself after the ruling. There was no parade. No cheesy montage where I got everything back and everyone lived happily ever after. Just life. Quiet. Messy. Unpredictable. But for the first time in years, it was my life. No strings. No emotional landmines. No one calling me just because the gas bill was late or the water heater exploded. It was weirdly quiet. And honestly, that silence hit harder than any fight ever did. 2 weeks after the ruling, I moved into a tiny place across town. Nothing special. 1 bedroom. Beige walls. Crappy linoleum in the kitchen. But it was mine. Every time I unlocked the door, I felt something settle in my chest, like I was reclaiming space inside myself I didn't even know had been occupied. That old weight. Gone. I used to spend so much energy worrying about being enough. Enough of a son. Enough of a brother. Enough to matter. Now, I just wanted to be enough for me. Sam stayed in touch. She'd call just to check in sometimes. No legal talk. Just human stuff. One day she told me, you know, most people who in cases like yours, they don't actually change. They stay stuck in the bitterness. I asked her, what do you think's different about me? She didn't even pause. You didn't want revenge. You wanted peace. That's why you'll heal. I didn't reply, just stared at the floor and let those words land somewhere deep, where they could do some real work. And she was right. As satisfying as it should have been to watch everything collapse around the people who used me, it wasn't the fall that changed me. It was what came after. The freedom. 3 months post-trial, I was heading out of a breakfast spot near my new job, still getting used to the routine, still adjusting to a life that felt like mine, when I saw him. Evan, standing near the bus stop, hoodie up, headphones in, kicking at the curb like a bored teenager. It took a second to even recognize him. He looked smaller. Not physically, but like life had finally stopped shielding him. I could have kept walking. Honestly, I should have kept walking. But I didn't. I stopped. Hey, I said. He looked up, eyes wide. Joel. I nodded. He pulled one headphone down, eyes darting like he was trying to figure out if I was about to punch him or forgive him. He settled on sarcasm. What? Here to yell at me again? I shrugged. Nah, just grabbing coffee. He shifted from foot to foot, then sighed. Mom and Dad are not great. I raised a brow. No. He gave this dry, broken laugh. Guess you got what you wanted, huh? And for a split second, I wanted to say yes. Hell yes. Karma, baby. But I didn't. I took a breath and said, no, I wanted peace. Y'all made sure it took hell to get there. We stood in silence for a second, listening to the hiss of the bus pulling up, brakes whining. He opened his mouth like he was going to say something, then closed it, just nodded, and got on the bus. No final confrontation. No teary closure. Just space. And that was enough. About a month later, I got an email from my dad. No greeting. Just a few paragraphs. I've been thinking about everything. We were wrong. I know you don't want to hear from us, but I needed to say it. You didn't deserve any of what happened. I wish I could change it. I'm sorry. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not crying. Not angry. Just processing. I didn't reply. Maybe someday. But I didn't need it anymore. Last week, I found myself walking through my old neighborhood. Curiosity, mostly. The house was boarded up. Foreclosed. Grass knee-high. Windows busted out. Mailbox hanging on by a thread. That place had been a battlefield. And now? It was just quiet. Empty. No ghosts left to haunt me. I stood across the street, hands buried deep in my hoodie pocket, just staring. Then I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo. Not to post. Not to share. Just for me. To remember what surviving looked like. So here's where I'm at now. New place. New job. Actually kind of loving the team. Small software dev firm. Big on work-life balance. Which feels wild after everything I dealt with. I got a dog. His name's Murphy. Rescued him from a shelter. He's anxious as hell, has a lopsided ear, and trust issues almost as deep as mine. But damn if he doesn't love the hell out of me. And I started therapy again. Not because I'm broken, but because healing is not a one-time deal. It's a process. And I'm finally giving myself the tools I never got growing up. Some nights, I still think about it. The yelling. The betrayal. The way my mom looked at me, like I was a stranger, just because I stopped playing her game. Those thoughts. They don't haunt me anymore. They pass through, like summer storms. Because here's the thing. Being the villain in someone else's story is the cost of being the hero in your own. And I'll take that trade. Any day. The biggest plot twist? I'm happy. Not that flashy, Instagram filter happy. Just simple. Soft. Real life happy. I make my own coffee in the morning. I fall asleep without that pit in my stomach. I laugh at dumb movies, no one side-eyeing me. I answer to no one but myself. That's the revenge. That's the glow up. That's the peace. So to anyone who's in that place right now, where you feel used, invisible, like you're only valued for what you give, here's your sign. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even offer you a Band-Aid. And when you do, you'll realize what I did. It's not about getting even. It's about getting free. That's it. That's my story. Not perfect, not pretty, but real. And real hits harder than any scripted drama ever could. Murphy chewed through my Wi-Fi cable last week, and it cost me a client meeting, but it's far better than dealing with family lawsuits. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.